Hello students, let us discuss about amendment given in RTP November 2017 for CA final financial reporting. Now, most of the amendment given in this RTP were already covered in May 2017 RTP. So they are already covered in the amendment lecture for May 2017. So amendment notes and amendment lectures of May 2017 have to be referred first. Now what I will be discussing over here is only the incremental amendment, extra amendment which are given in November 2017 RTP. Okay? So let us start with that. Now these amendments are there in two IND AS, that is IND AS 7 and IND AS 102. Let us start. First of all, amendment in IND AS 7. Now IND AS 7 is based on cash flow statement. Now in that there is a small amendment regarding disclosure requirement. Now what's that amendment? They have added certain additional disclosures which have to be made. So why? Because they will enable the users of financial statement to better analyze the financial activities. So some extra disclosures are required to be made in relation to financing activities. That's a first amendment over there. Next, you also have to make disclosure for changes in financial asset which affect financing activity. So can you give an example? There are certain financial assets that are specifically undertaken or specifically bought to hedge the risk regarding financial liability. Example, I have taken a loan from foreign country. Now that's my financial liability. Now there's a risk over there, foreign exchange risk. To hedge that foreign exchange risk, I've entered into some contract known as forward contract. Now that forward contract is a financial asset. So you need to disclose some extra things, that is changes about that financial asset. And so that shareholders or users get better understanding again of the financial activities. Conclusion, there is a small amendment only in disclosure requirement in case of IND AS 7 which requires additional disclosures to be made. Clear? Next amendment is regarding IND AS 102, that is share-based payment. Now what is this? In share-based payment there are two types. One is cash settled and other is equity settled. So there is cash settled share-based payment and equity settled share-based payment. So this amendment clarifies that fair value of cash settled share-based payment is to be made in consistent basis with equity settlement share-based payment. Means you measure equity settled share-based payment based on fair value. Similar basis में you need to measure cash settled share-based payment also. So calculation of cash-based share-based payment should be consistent with calculation of equity settled share-based payment. Now for the calculation they have told how to calculate fair value. For the purpose of calculation of fair value, you can use market-based performance condition, non-wasting conditions, which will help you to calculate fair value. But you should not consider non-market based or service wasting conditions for calculation of fair value. So why we need to calculate fair value? They are talking about calculation of fair value in case of cash settled share-based payment. So calculation of cash-based share-based payment will consider market-based performance, non-wasting conditions as indicators of fair value, nothing else. Conclusion of this amendment is calculation of share-based payment which is cash settled is consistent with calculation of share-based payment which is equity settled. That's it. Second one. Next amendment is withholding tax in case of share-based payment. Now what is this? Many a times in case of share-based payment, when you give ESOPs etc., withholding tax has to be deducted and the payment has to be made to the government. Means you are giving something to the employee, on that tax is deducted at source and that amount is given to the government. Now what happens over there is, let us say company had thought they will make equity settled share-based payment. Now when they were making equity-based share-based payment, they understood that some amount has to be withheld as tax and it has to be given to the government. So they divided that into two parts, equity settled and cash settled. Now cash settled was withheld and given to the government and equity settled was given to the employees. Earlier, as per the earlier IND AS, this two part, the equity settled and the cash settled, had to be accounted separately. Equity settled separately, cash settled separately. Now, as per the amendment, this entire thing will be treated as equity settled. Reason, when you are paying equity, you paid cash only for the purpose of withholding tax and no other reason. Therefore, no need to bifurcate equity settled and cash settled. Entire thing will be considered as equity settled and accordingly accounted. So what if you are paying cash over and above the withholding tax? Then it has to be accounted separately. Conclusion of this amendment is, earlier cash settled and equity settled accounted separately. Now if you are making equity settled and for the purpose of withholding tax only you are giving cash settled, that entire thing will be considered as equity settled only. That's the amendment over there. Next amendment is, if you have modified the terms and condition of cash settled share based payment, and because of that modification now that has been converted into equity settled share based payment, then in future it is accounted as equity settled share based payment only. Means cash based share based payment converted into equity based share based payment. In future it will be accounted as equity based share based payment. Further, because of that conversion, if any difference arises in the carrying amount, then it is recognized in P&L immediately. It is recognized in P&L immediately. So these are the small amendments in IND AS. Thank you so much.